Hey, Greg. Some of your teammates have said you may be one of the most improved players on the team. How do you think you've improved in the last year or so?
I would just probably say just trying to get my body right. Last year was a great year, experience-wise for me. First year starting, so just knowing what I need to do, get faster, continue with my nutrition, things like that. Stay with Dr. Frakes. So I would just say all facets of my game, I try to get better every year. So that's good to hear my teammates say that.
I think Coach Howe said it was your weight.
Yeah.
You had to get it down.
Uh-huh. Yeah, correct.
How much did you lose? Or
Yeah, last year I was playing around, I think around fall camp last year, I was probably about 243, 242, something like that. Right now I'm around 231, so I'm playing around 230 this year.
and just the group of linebackers. How do you feel? You guys are playing off each other. You've added Omar to the mix,
Right.
and you're doing some different stuff with Harold.
Correct. Yeah, I think we have a very unselfish group. Each guy brings something different. We have a lot of experience now this year, and we have some young guys, Christian and Witt. So I think we have a great group, an experienced group. I think we have one of the best groups in the country.
Greg, just I guess talk about the defense as a whole now that it's kind of year two and understanding what everybody wants out of that and kind of comfortability, I guess, that everyone has.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole defense as a whole, me coming back this year, having the same coordinator this year, I think really helped me and some of my other teammates. We have the same defense, same guys, basically in the front seven, kind of. I think as a whole, it really helped us continue to grow and be familiar with each other. I think that's where we taken a step this year.
The versatility that we're seeing with Harold kind of maybe opens things up for different looks, I guess. So you kind of really have to be ready at all times.
Correct. Yeah. Perk being everywhere on the field now it's hard to just key in on him, especially with Mason being back and guys get more one-on-ones and things like that. So as a whole, it'll help the whole defense.
I know Mason's kind of working through something right now, but what kind of difference have you seen with him being back as far as the way it frees up other guys?
Right. Like last year without him, I mean, it was a big difference, him playing and not playing. Like you saw against Florida State, those first couple snaps, he was in the backfield and things like that. So with Mason out there, he just creates a different dimension in our defense, just a extra guy who's going to create havoc, just like Perk, Wingo, all those other guys.
You mentioned kind of this being the second year in Matt House's defense. How does that continuity make you feel more comfortable this year around?
Right. I mean, it helps a lot. I mean, my first year to my second year, I had a different D coordinator. So now going into year two with Coach House really helps me. I mean, I'm playing Mike and Will right now, and I basically know both of them like ABCs, really. So, I mean, it's really good having Coach House back this year and me being able to play both and know what everyone has to do is really good.
What is Omar like? He's super intense, right? Like we talked to him the other day, just like trying to get him loosen up a little bit. What's he like as a teammate? And I'm assuming like he brings that to the field, right?
Yeah, Omar. He's from Philly, so we're both like East Coast guy. I'm from Baltimore, so I actually played it in high school. I played against the high school he went to, and we'd make jokes and stuff about things like that. But Omar, he's cool, laid back guy, kind of quiet, but you could tell he's real intense. Look like a 30-year-old man, things like that. But O's a great teammate. I mean, I sit right next to him in the meeting room, so being a veteran guy, he's a great guy.
What does he bring? Is he like super cerebral, like a thumper? What do you see in his game that you like?
I think he can do everything, honestly. I think each guy in the room brings something different. Omar can come off the edge too. He can do a little bit of everything. He can cover, come off the edge. He can be a thumper. We need to be a thumper. I think that's what I think is good about our room. I think we have guys that can do a little bit of everything.
What have you seen in the tight ends? Obviously, Mason looks like he's taking that next step, right? But
Correct.
the young guys kind of coming in and contributing as well.
Obviously, that room has gotten a lot deeper. Going against those guys every day, I think just like our room, they have guys that can do different things. Mac is more of a blocker. Mason, you know what Mason can do. And they got Big Pimp. He's a jump ball guy. He makes plays. So, I mean, each guy in that room brings something different. I feel like they're young, but they have a really good room.
Is that a matchup nightmare for y'all?
I wouldn't say that. I think we do. I think us as linebackers hanging on pretty well. But, I mean, each day it's competition at every position. So, yeah.
Greg, what are you guys doing with Major Burns? Kind of working with you guys a little bit.
I think with Major, it's just him and Coach House, and then they kind of meet and things like that, and they work with him off the edge and things like that. Just trying to grow his game as much as possible. Everybody's trying to grow their game, do different things like that.
So he's a guy you could move close to the line of scrimmage and.
Yeah, I think Major can do a little bit of everything because he has great length. Major's a tall guy. He's very vocal. I know you guys probably hear him and things like that. So he could do a little bit of everything. He's one of our bigger safeties. So I think that's why they are doing stuff like that with Major.
And Coach House, he spends more time with the linebackers than anybody, right?
Correct.
So what's it been like to be coached by him? What do you think of him as a defensive coordinator and what he brings to you each day?
Yeah, Coach House is a great guy, man. He's a smart mind. I mean, he knows his stuff. Each day he has different installs and things like that. He creates mismatches with blitzes very well. I think he's probably the best DC I've probably had since I've been here. And he just does a great job creating mismatches. He puts us in positions with our skill sets to succeed. That's basically what he does.
A lot of talented freshmen on the defensive side. Are there any that are kind of standing out as you can't believe he's a freshman just coming into this program?
There's a lot of good guys that are standing out. In my room, I'd probably say Witt and Christian are doing really well. Witt was here in the spring, so I think he has a little edge up. So he's been here. He knows the process. He's been playing really well. Ashton Stamps at corner has been doing really well. He asks a lot of questions. He's very engaged. It's a lot of guys, man. On the D-line, Womack's coming along. You could tell he's a guy. Me and Womack are both from Baltimore, so I've had a relationship with him for a couple of years. Him coming here, I've tried to keep him under my wing, make sure he's doing things the right way and things like that. I think he's going to be a really good player.
We're going to talk to Deuce in a little bit, I think. What kind of dude is he? He's certainly talkative, right?
Yeah, Deuce definitely talkative, always talking. But he's a veteran guy. He's played a lot of football, seen a lot of routes. I think he sees things before they happen really well. Great guy, great teammate. I mean, he's a great guy to jump routes and things like that. He gets picks, and he's had a couple picks this fall camp, which is really good. That's a big thing we've been trying to do is create turnovers and get on the field on third down. So he's a guy that can help us with that.
Everybody we've talked to said he jumps routes good. So, I mean, it must be a thing, huh?
Yeah.
What goes into that?
I think he just has a knack for it. I mean, I think he's seen a lot of football and things like that. So, I mean, hopefully we get a couple of them this year, pick sixes.
It's a little trial by fire for those dudes, Zai and him as well, transferring in and kind of trying to get up to speed with this receiving core. I guess, how do you feel about the secondary as far as progressing and feeling like, yeah, we can roll with these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very comfortable with our secondary. I mean, it's a couple, well, the safeties in whole are Greg and Major, I mean, and Andre Sam's doing a great job. I mean, Dre is a great communicator. He's fitting really well with us, I think. And the corners, it's just all about communication, really. I mean, there's new faces at corner, but I think they're doing a pretty good job coming in with the defense and understanding the scheme. I think as a whole, we just got to help each other and continue to grow each day. I mean, you can't look forward to the next day, focus on today.
What are you seeing in that offense that you're going against? Obviously, they return a ton as well.
Yeah. The offense, this fall camp, I can tell you they've probably been a lot more explosive than they were last year. Taking a lot more shots downfield, I would say. Not just with the quick game, they're doing a lot more downfield routes. Excuse me, longer progression routes, and the O-liners look good. They have they got a lot of veterans up there now that played a lot of football. So, I mean, hopefully they can put up some points this year and we'll have a great year.
We'll get two more for Greg.
Just specifically on Zai, like there's a stigma with some people. A guy at Southeastern, he can't start at LSU or play in the Southeastern Conference, but he's long, right? And he's got the skills. I mean, what are you seeing out of him specifically at camp?
Zai's a smart player. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, he told me he played quarterback. I didn't even know that, but it kind of makes sense because he's kind of smart and he has really good length, so he can cover ground really good. And he's also an older guy in that room, so I think it helps the younger guys. But he's a great teammate, great guy. Each day he's getting better just like everyone else. I just think that whole secondary as a whole and the whole defense, we're just trying to attack each day and get better.
Does it feel a little different? We were talking to some of the dudes yesterday. The excitement is there. Y'all feel like that potential is really there?
Yeah, it's definitely there. I mean, we're all excited. I was talking to Perk earlier today, and we were just saying, we feel like this could be a great year. I mean, we feel like we had the pieces on defense and offense to go out there and make Louisiana fans proud. I mean, just go out there with our head down every day and get better. I mean, we feel like it could be a great year, but we can't look forward to it. We just got to take care of today.
Let's talk about teams, obviously. It seems like a renewed commitment, obviously a lot more focus on it during the practices that we're seeing. From your perspective, do you feel like that's paying off?
I do. I think there's a big difference in approach this year, and a lot of that being in terms of attitude, mindset. Want guys that want to be on special teams, that have the desire to play on special teams and help the team as a whole. And I think that's just being positive, bringing energy, been a huge difference.
It also looks like they got some starters out there as far as that goes. I mean, does that make a big difference as far as the importance that the head coach is putting on it?
100%. We talk about our best players being our best leaders, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that. Special teams isn't always the shiniest, coolest thing, and obviously there's a time and a place to have your top guys out there, and there's special teams plays that are probably more important than others sometimes, and coaches decide that. But punt, kickoff, those are two big special teams plays and can, over the course of a game, change the outcome. So,
how much kind of did you have your eye on a situation like this year when you decided to come here? It seems like a lot of things are aligning for this team.
Yeah, man. I think just as a whole, taking the steps from last year to this year, and everybody, not just special teams, there's a lot of maturing. Relationships are growing, brotherhood's growing, all that stuff, and I think it all goes hand in hand to having a good special teams as well.
Coach Diaco,
Yes,
he's kind of stepped to the forefront. I don't know how much we knew about him before, but
Mm-hmm.
we hear him and see him every day now. So what kind of coach is he?
I love him. I don't think there's a more energetic guy in our building. Brings life to our meetings, and guys are excited to come to special teams meetings. They're excited to play special teams. I think that's a big deal. The energy that he brings and the positivity that he brings, and just the way he's able to articulate that, guys want to play for him. So I've really enjoyed him. I think he's a great coach. Super fun to be around, and there's kind of, like I said, positive. Very positive.
I've looked at that video many times, the end of the Florida State game last year, season opener. You guys all had a look of shock, right?
Me too.
Yeah. In those games, can you speak to me about how special teams make such a big difference, hidden yardage and all those things that you guys talk about?
Yeah. Looking back on last year, just about every game that we lost. Florida State, Tennessee, A&M probably had some too, and Georgia. There's major issues on special teams all the way around, and I think back to the Georgia game. If it wasn't for probably one or two different plays, we're within 2-score game. That changes that game. Tennessee, same thing, and Florida State, obviously. So obviously, right there is huge emphasis and huge importance, and I think that's exactly why we got to be better with it this year.
Aaron Anderson's a new face on this team. Mm-hmm. What have you kind of seen from him on the return game?
Super athletic, slippery, quick speed, tight spaces, all that stuff. He's on my SWAT team, and I think he's done a really good job at kind of acclimating here, settling in. Great teammate, good person, all that.
You kind of elaborate on that because he looks like a guy who's going to have a role in a lot of different spots. What kind of guy is he as far as being dependable? And you guys
So Coach Kelly has a lot of stuff that he asks us to do it on a daily basis. We have wellness questionnaires, and we take supplements. You name it, we do it. You probably heard about it, but dude shows up on time. That's like the price of admission. Just doing these small things right. guy you can talk to, go up to in the locker room, have a conversation with. How you doing, man? How's your day going? You know, being able to punt to him during practice. You know, we've talked about reading punts. You know, ball turns over, probably going to drive you back a little farther. Ball doesn't turn over and it's just spinning with the tail kind of dragging. That ball's probably going to go away from you. You know, stuff like that. You know, wants to learn. He wants to be a good returner. He wants to be a good player for us. So I think he has a desire to just be great. So.
Specialists have a unique ability to see the team differently than the team
Mm-hmm.
sometimes sees them. How do you see this team?
Maturing. We're not where we need to be yet. I think the progression we've made from day one to now is great. Got to keep doing that, keep making improvements, keep taking steps. You know, I think leadership is a big thing for us as a whole. There's still some question marks there, and I think it's helping itself along the way. It's showing itself, but it's got to continue to get better. And I think that kind of happens naturally throughout camp. Same way with our team getting our identity. You know, the leadership. You know, when it needs to be shown, it's going to be shown. You know, and that's how it's going to happen naturally, I guess. So.
How does the continuity between, you know, long snapper, you at punter, and then place kicker from a year ago till now make you guys that much better?
I think all three of us, you know, we were relatively good friends last year. Our relationship is a million miles since then. I think we started hitting field goal operations back in May or June together. I think by July we were in midseason form. And we didn't have that the year before. Didn't do that year before. We should have. But I think that kind of comes with growing relationships and, you know, kind of building trust and, you know, how good do you really want to be? And I think that also has a lack of kind of leadership for me. You know, we could have done that, you know. So I kind of felt compelled that, you know, we need to get out there and kind of get a head start. And our relationship from that, I think, is great. It's growing, doing good.
This will be a career first for me, but the deep snapper.
Yeah.
Right? Rarely do you see him down making the tackle as well, but
Yeah.
he's that kind of guy, I guess. What do you see in Slade, right?
Yep.
That kind of sets him apart.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a guy. The dude likes attention, and he wants to be on a play. I mean, he wants to help the team. All jokes aside, obviously he's a terrific long snapper. Really good hitting spots, and athletic enough to run down the field. Probably more athletic and quicker than most of your long snappers. You know, so being in on a play is huge for him. And a lot of places may block him, or they're just going to go ahead and mark him out and say he's getting blocked somewhere down the field. Like, we're counting on him to be down there because that's the expectation, because he's good enough to do that. So.
I think we asked you this last year. We had a chance, but now that Brian Kelly's been here for over a year, have you noticed any differences from him in Baton Rouge versus coach that you had in South Bend?
He's a lot looser. I mean, I've always thought he was a great man, good person, and he's always been good to me. But I mean, it's so easy to talk to him, you know, and he'll tell you what he's been doing, ask you what you've been doing, and you know, I think he's really enjoyed being in Louisiana, from what I can tell, and he's taken up some new stuff. And my understanding is he likes to fish now, try to when he can. So that's kind of funny, but I mean, yeah, I think it's a little brighter out here, you know, not a lot more sunshine, so kind of brings some happiness.
Oh, what's up, Garrett?
How we doing?
Good, man. I think this is my first chance to talk to you, I guess, since coming back or announcing that you're coming back. Kind of take me through that process, and what did you want to get out of this year for the future?
You know, I think what I wanted to get out of this year is the same that I want to get out of any year. You know, it's just continuing to get better, you know, never accepting of what I am, you know, and I'm always in competition with what I have the potential to be, you know, not with what I am now. And I think that's kind of the mindset that I've taken. You know, I think, like you said, coming back, I mean, I don't think it was that hard of a decision for me. This is where I want to be. My roots are in this state. This is my home, and it means something to me to represent LSU and to represent this state and these fans. And also, with my teammates and coaches, I've learned to build relationships with the new staff, and I have a lot of love for them. And also with my teammates, I wanted to finish what we started. So.
Talking about your coaches, Sloan is coaching you hard, and I'm assuming that you like that. I mean, just kind of take me through the dynamic there of getting you better.
Yeah, like I told them earlier, one of the first conversations me and Coach Sloan had, he told me that he believed that he was the best coach in the country to coach me. And I think that could be true, because we're very similar. I get very emotional at times, and he's the same way. So he's quick to get on to me, but I love it. I'm used to it, and that's the way I want it to be. I don't want to be coached to be average. I want to be coached to be the best that I can be. So I have a lot of love for Coach Sloan and the way that he coaches me, and so it's been fun.
Jaden said at Media Days that part of his legacy was helping you and Ricky kind of cement yours as well. What does it mean to have a guy who's willing to help and that whole room really help each other? You talked about helping Ricky,
Yeah, I mean, he's done a great job leading, and we all push each other. There's no time to slip up. We're always competing. We're always pushing each other to be the best that we can be, and I think it's been good. There's a good dynamic in the room. Ricky's done a great job since he's got here. He's learning, he's growing, and he's doing really well. So.
Garrett, after all the questions last August, how much more confident are you guys right now in what you're doing, all the people that came back from last year's offense, and how potent can this offense be?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things Coach Denbrock has stressed this offseason is not about trying to change who we are. It's about, perfecting who we are. And it's the little things, it's the little details, and continuing to get those right. And when you're perfect with little details, it starts to open up more things. And, I think that's where we will improve as an offense is, focusing on the details and correcting the mistakes that we made last year and continuing to get better. So,
Can you speak to how many talented skill players you have? I mean, you have 8 scholarship running backs. You have all these wide receivers, more tight ends now.
Yeah, I mean, it's very relieving as a quarterback when you're out there and if something goes bad and you got to put it up to a one-on-one situation. I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's 100 to none. It's not a 50-50. So with the guys that we've got, in the tight end room, in the receiver room, and even in the running back room, we got a lot of dudes. We got a lot of athletes, and they can all make plays. So it's exciting. Literally from top to bottom in each room, they're all extremely talented. And for us, for me and Jaden, that's a complete ease of relief. So
It's easy to talk about the skill position players, but what about the offensive line? Kind of grown a lot from last year to this year. What have you seen from them at this part of camp?
Yeah, I mean, they've done a great job. Just growing and learning, getting experience, especially, we had Will and Emery were 2 freshmen. And, now they look like vets, just the way that they go about their business, the way that they act every single day, the way that they lead out on the practice field. That speaks for the other guys too, the interior guys, Dellinger and Miles Frazier and Charles, those guys are all returning. And, they've stepped up big as a unit. You can see that they definitely have a force of toughness, within our offense and bring us more of a tough identity. And it's awesome to see, the way that they've all stepped up and, brought everybody with them. So.
You obviously had a lot of high praise for Joe Sloan. What have you seen is your biggest improvement in your opinion under this coaching staff?
I think, the biggest thing that I've improved on under this staff is just improving my emotional awareness, working through things that, I didn't really know how to work through before, trying to stay even kill, not too high, not too low. I'm very passionate and it can come out at times and sometimes it can hurt me and sometimes it helps me. And I'm trying to use that and push that into a way that helps me only and eliminate the emotions that, start to hurt me. I think one of the other big things is I've learned how to just kind of focus and stay locked in throughout, each rep, each play, each drive. And, I think it's helped me a lot. So.
Just watching practice so far, the thing that stood out to me about Mason is his catch radius. Just seems like he's always going to get it. I guess, what kind of guy is he that, the leaps that he's taken from year 1 to year 2, and then Pimp and Mac, just their ability to kind of, have a great first year as well? Yeah.
Mason's a stud. I mean, it's kind of hard for a tight end to to not, grow mentally when you catch a game winner against Alabama, So when he goes out there, you can tell he has that confidence. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he accomplished. He knows what he can accomplish. And he stepped up as a leader on the team, too. And you can see it every day. Like you said, his catch radius is crazy. The dude doesn't drop a ball. If you put it up to him, he's going to go get it. And just like the other guys in the tight end room, the young guys, they have so much talent, and they're learning and they're getting better each and every day. And, it's awesome to see how much they've improved and how much they're continuing to improve. And it's a very deep room, a very talented room. So I'm really excited to see what we can get out of them this year.
One impressive thing about you seems to be your ability to fit it into a tight window. Velocity on the throw, do you reach a certain point where that's as hard as I can throw the ball, or is velocity something that you work on every year in terms of how you can fit it in?
Obviously, I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to increase my arm strength. But to be honest, I don't really feel any limitations on throws. I feel the confidence to be able to make whatever throw I need to make out on the field. And, it's been big for me to learn how to control that aggression. And, I used to be extremely, extremely aggressive, and I would put the ball in danger and things that hurt me. Like I talked about emotionally, I would get too high and think that I could make every play in the world and try to force it instead of just, going through my reads, doing what I'm supposed to do and allowing those plays to come to me. And then that's when I should be able to make them. So I wouldn't say I feel like I have a limit, of when I feel like I can't. I feel like I always have the confidence to and the trust in my teammates to be able to, do whatever I need to do whenever I need to do it. So.
A couple months ago, you were in Thibodeau with the Manning Passing Academy. We didn't get a chance to talk with you then, but you were leading a couple of drills with Eli, and you were able to talk with him and Peyton. Did they give you any advice going into this season that you're kind of carrying with you?
Yeah, it was good, being around that, and it was awesome to get to, coach a quarterback drill with Eli Manning. I want to be a coach one day too. I'm a coach's kid. I've always been around ball. Football is all I know. Football is all I love to do. So, getting to talk to a couple greats like that, and just learn from them and listen to the different things they say, listen to the different stories they have to tell. It's pretty cool, and I hope every quarterback gets to experience that at some point. So.
Did they give you anything to carry through?
Nothing I would talk about. I think that's kind of keep those between me and them. But no, it's just like I said, it was awesome to get to listen to those stories and learn different things from them. So.
What do you think about the potential of this team? Obviously, you guys took great strides in year one.
Yeah.
That comfort level, I'm assuming, is higher.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's a little bit more focused.
Yeah. I think the sky's the limit for us this year. If we handle things the right way, if we do things the right way. Our defense is ridiculous. There's so many athletes, so many dogs on that defense. It's scary, and it makes us better as an offense. When we go against them, it's hard. It's not easy in practice. And so, when we go play on Saturdays, it's going to make the game easier than it is, at practice. And so, like I said, the sky is definitely, the limit. There is no limit on what we could accomplish this year as long as we handle things the right way and take things the right way and handle it week by week and focus on what we need to focus on. And, I'm really excited.
So I watched you a lot at practice so far. You're a big talker. Love to talk. I saw you struggle with the heat early on, right? So
Right.
I guess just how comfortable do you feel like the last week, 2 weeks have really gotten you ready for what's ahead?
Yeah, just not playing football in so long kind of got me early in the first couple of days. Just trying to get back to the old me, and I've always been that trash-talking kind of guy. That's why I compare myself to, like, Jair Alexander, just having that swagger and trying to bring that energy to the defense to help us win games.
Obviously, the defense was a little behind early on, but it looks like you guys have caught up and played well. You and Zai on the other side, both kind of learning each other, learning the system, et cetera. Kind of take me through that progression that you've seen as far as getting up to speed, and how comfortable are you right now?
Just learning the defense more. Me being able to actually run the defense, I missed the spring. So now that I'm running the defense and learning it more, me being able to get more confident and more comfortable and being able to play like myself. And, Zai doing this thing on the other side. So, me and Zai trying to be the #1 corner duo in the country if we can be. So that's just the goal, to be DBU and bring DBU to that big stage again.
Everybody we talked to about you says you jump routes well, right? What goes into that?
I wouldn't say I jump routes. I would just say more of breaking before the receiver do, or breaking
because I just a good break on the ball, just knowing the routes and knowing how routes and concepts work. So just being ahead of the game helps me play faster and be more confident in my breaks.
You really, you're good about not looking in the backfield, looking at your man and reading his hips kind of thing? Is like,
Yeah, more of it just coming from my freshman year, that was what I say I was jumping routes more in my freshman year, and now my getting older and stuff, learning and experiencing. I wouldn't say I'm jumping things, more of I just know how to play the routes now, knowing the concepts and being more confident on breaking to the ball.
obviously you're an undersized guy, so what do you make up? What skill set do you have that makes up for that?
Just my IQ on the field, just knowing, like I said before, the concepts, knowing how the offense works and stuff like that, being more experienced and playing more football, just knowing more in the game. So I think that helped me a lot, just knowing a lot of football, basically.
Where's that come from?
I've always been like that as a kid. Like, if you ever be around me, I'm just watching football. No matter what I'm doing, I'm just going to watch football. That's all. I just love to watch football.
A lot of new faces in the LSU secondary, and while you haven't been here that long, you're kind of the veteran of the group in terms of in-game experience. How have you kind of taken on a leadership role?
Just helping each other out. I'm not the only corner in the room, and I know how I can get losing a corner. You know how we lost Garrett Williams last year in Syracuse, and somebody needs to step up. So I know how we need the whole room, not just the first two corners to be great. We need everybody to be great. So knowing the game and trying to teach the younger guys that, so they can be more confident and play faster out there.
You're certainly getting tested, right? Let's talk about this wide receiver core that you guys are going against. Just great looks for y'all, but how talented are they?
Very talented. You got guys that got versatility all across the board. You got different kind of guys. You got speed burners, you got route runners, and you got guys that can go up and get the ball. So every day you got to compete and work. If you're not competing, you're going to get embarrassed out there, basically. So every day you got to compete, and they're going to give you good work.
A Jersey guy in Louisiana, how's that working out for you?
Man, I'm still adjusting to the heat, man. I've been here since January and still trying to adjust to the heat, being in 100 degrees weather like consecutively is crazy, but I'm still adjusting to it and stuff like that. But I can say I'm pretty adjusted better now since the first couple of days of practice.
People cool, food's good. What do you think?
The food's definitely good down here, man. I had gator bites for the first time since I came down here. What is it, gumbo, stuff like that. So I'm still learning the food and stuff like that. But it's good food. It's a good culture down here. People act different down here and things like that. So I'm still adjusting to it. But it's pretty fun since I've been down here.
What's it like going up against guys like Jaden and Nuss every day in practice? Do they kind of do things to throw you off, or do you?
We just a lot of trash talking. Me and Jay always talking, and we talked before camp like, I told him you're going to have 0% thrown to me. So, it's always trash talking, just competitive stuff, just to make each other better. And just trying to go win a championship, that's just the number one goal.
I thought they had a good question for you over there. Just the idea of coming to the SEC to test yourself. Is that a real thing for you?
That's definitely a real thing. Everybody says the SEC is the closest thing to the NFL. So, just wanted to come get the competition and better myself on getting ready for the next level.
Obviously, yeah, in the SEC, but you're a guy that, you had a lot of hype in the transfer portal, kind of could have went anywhere. What was it about LSU in this program that brought you here?
LSU is DBU. Everybody knows that. Any school that says they're DBU just is trying to be a part of the conversation. LSU has always been DBU. I kind of watched guys like Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu growing up, so LSU's been my dream school since a child. Everybody know I wanted to go to LSU coming out of high school. Obviously, things ain't go that way, but, God plans and able to get me here, and I'm just grateful for it.
You talked about Zai a little bit, but some people say, he's coming from a smaller school. How will he hold up? What do you see from him in practice that makes you think he'll be an SEC player?
He lives up to his resume. He's a two-time All-American. You wouldn't think he came from a lower school. He's just out here competing and doing what he's supposed to do, and he's gonna have a big year this year.